important. If you look at, I don't like to be like a downer, but like if you look at the U.S. dollar, for instance, 40% of all the U.S. dollars that have ever been printed happened in the last year. Think about that.
What? Joe Byron.
And so with cryptocurrencies, it's like obviously there's thousands of them, but like with something like Bitcoin or something like Ethereum, like these are cryptocurrencies that have a finite amount that it's never going to change. There's no way for inflation to happen.
Welcome back to Rehab, best podcast in the city. It's your boy Jackson.
And it's your boy AC Jr., where we setting the stage all the way from the hoes to the CEOs. Today we got my boy Zack Ganger, who's killing it in the NFT and crypto game right now. Zack, go ahead and say what's up to the people.
What's up, everyone? Stoked to be here with my boys. We're going to have a good conversation today. I'm here to tell you about crypto, NFTs, and how these guys and all of you can get involved.
All right.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So tell me about the week, Alex. Man, let's get to that.
Okay, so you know how we always start off with the week here at Social Rehab. So my week is, I'm looking forward to the next week, and I'll just leave it at that.
And that's, I don't ask
work
about
and,
your week about just for work. I ask for it just life.
Oh, week? Life? Man.
Like, he goes right into work. I don't get it.
Because you always talk shit about work.
That's the only
So
thing
that's
we
what I'm
compare
thinking. So I'm just trying to get that shit out of the way.
Okay.
Yeah, so this week in my personal life, man, it was I know that I said to you today or the other day I wanted to start working on Thursday. Did not do it.
Yeah, he told me that's something that he brought up and he wanted to work out on Thursday.
But you didn't answer the phone when I called you, so that's probably why I don't know.
Who? Don't be lying on my name, bro. Don't be lying on my name. Don't be lying on my name, bro.
So how was your week, though?
Week was straight. Obviously, again, try and be consistent as possible. Get to the gym, feed your body 90, what's the best gas? 93 fuel. Feed your body 93 fuel, premium. Input the knowledge in the brain. And good vibes only.
Good vibes only.
Good vibes only. Take all that bad stuff out of your routine. Make sure if anyone's draining you, man, subtract them out of your life.
Whew.
But yeah, that's something that I always try and be consistent with. Work week was straight. Obviously we're just trying to build. Shout out to the intersection. All we're doing is trying to elevate, man. Get more money in each other's pockets. Help as many people as possible, and stomp Alex's team out every week. Shout out to the gang. And yeah, man, that's really all I can say. Alex,
Zack, how was your week? How was your week, man? Work-wise and life-wise,
Week was good. Work-wise, things are crazy. NFT space is out of control right now. It's the most exciting possible thing you could be involved in right now. So I'm living the dream. But outside of NFTs, things are good. Me and my fiance are moving into a little house in Riverside Heights and
Nice.
Very nice.
living the life.
That's perfect.
Living the dream, my boy.
Damn, how'd you pick the girl?
Ooh,
Hinge, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was in London at the time. This is like 2 years ago. She still has an accent. She's from Florida originally, but she lived there for like 10 years, so she picked up an accent. But no, she's great. Her name's Meg, and
Shout out to Meg.
Shout out to Meg. So yeah, I mean, in terms of, I know you said you're in the NFT space. What's that for you on a day to day? Like how does that look like? Because to me, NFTs are foreign. All I know is it's considered a non-fungible token.
all right, that's more than most people know.
All I know.
That's more than most people know.
This boy surprised the hell out of me.
That's all I know. I'm trying to make the bread, man. So
Yeah, and then talk about like take us through your journey and then how you got into NFTs, because you weren't, obviously all these people that are doing NFTs weren't always doing this. So how did you go from whatever you were doing into NFTs and your success, over the last couple of years?
Yeah, so I had a video production company in Brooklyn for about 10 years. I'm born and raised here in Tampa, moved out to New York right after UF. was in video production, and about 2015, 2016, I got into crypto. I had decided that I really wanted to either start a project or get involved in a project around the end of 2017. Started doing a bunch of networking in like the Ethereum and Bitcoin space, and was blessed enough I paid like $700 to go to this 1-day event where they just basically teach you about Ethereum. Went there, these guys were launching this company called SuperRare, which was essentially the first ever digital art marketplace for NFTs. At the time, I had no clue what an NFT was, but they explained it, and essentially, like, the way you got to think about it is, look at the internet. So, like, in our lifetimes and our parents' lifetimes, the internet was like the big opportunity of the last 50 whatever years. And it enabled creators and business owners to open up global access to, outside of their local area, to gain a following, to do whatever. But anything put on the internet could be freely downloaded, freely accessed. So like if you look at the music industry, for instance, that's what killed the music industry, is that everybody could go and start downloading all of the music for free. Everybody could essentially access everything for free. And so that's where NFTs come into play. Back in 2017, Ethereum launched the first highly usable, it's a little technical, but it's called protocol, that essentially allows creators to take any sort of digital file, whether it's a music file, a digital artwork, a piece of like virtual land, whatever it is, and turn it into an asset that can be bought, sold, and traded.
Okay. Damn. So you said 2000. All I heard, not all I heard, but to start off with, like 2000.
I gotta break it down a little bit.
2015, like I think I was a sophomore in college. That's crazy. So that long ago, this has kind of been in the works, or even probably before.
So that's like when I started getting into crypto overall. Like NFTs really became a thing in 2018 and became mainstream like in the last 6 months to a year. But our company, SuperRare, essentially was the first ever digital art marketplace. And so like there's lots of different types of NFTs. Like there's collectibles, which can be like 10,000 unique characters, or like different brands can launch different characters. Like you guys could launch an NFT collection as part of this show. And then there's art, which is like one of one artworks, same as like a Picasso, but it's a digital artwork. So like literally for the last 3 decades, there's been these creators that they're not painters, they're not photographers, they create art on computers. They use computer code, they use computer design programs, animation, whatever it is. And for 30 years now, they've had no way to actually sell that as art, because you can put it on the internet. Yeah, you can get a lot of likes, you can get a lot of followers, but then Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whoever it is, they're the ones making the money. So that's what this whole thing is about. It's called Web3, but essentially right now, if you look at the internet, you have 3-4 conglomerates that have access to everyone's data, everyone's everything. If you try to exchange money on the internet, no matter what it is, if I want to send money from me to you, whether it's through a purchase or just a gift, let's say it's PayPal, Venmo, whatever it is, eBay, there's a central authority involved that's taking a cut of that transaction. Absolutely. And so what Ethereum and Web3 enables is for you and me to send money to each other, to have a transaction where I buy something from you without any central authority involved taking a cut. It's just money moving directly from one person to another through, it's called smart contracts. Again, a little technical, but it's the new technology of the future.
Okay, no, that's dope. That's super dope. I'm trying to like wrap my head around like the existence of digital art having that much value.
Definitely. And I think that it's one of those things that like seems overly complicated, but if you just take time to like understand it, it's not as scary as it seems.
Yeah. I think that, and that's more so why I have a little bit of a resistance towards it. I'm not familiar with it, and I haven't seen it go into fruition as much, so I don't have that much faith in it. But so many people are being that involved in it that it's like there has to be some value there.
Okay, think about it like this. So you have the traditional art world with like Picassos and Warhols and whatever. These are paintings. And so in that world, the value in owning one of these paintings lies in essentially your ability to control who can see it, whether in a museum or you have it in your house. You're buying access to be able to look at it.
Damn, that does make
but
sense.
with art that lives on the internet, you want as many people as possible to see it. So like for me, I own a bunch of NFTs. I want everybody sharing that image. I want everybody to have that image on a digital frame in their house and put it in their ad, do whatever with it, because the more recognizable that image becomes on the internet, the more value that accrues for the one person in the world that can prove they own that image.
And this may sound dumb to you, but I've had this question because we've had this conversation before, especially with stuff on the internet. You said you want everybody to see it on the internet. So what happens when you put that on the internet, and to put it in layman, I take a screenshot of it and say, I own this, and send it out to somebody else? Like, how
Exactly.
do you go about it, you know?
So that's basically like the whole point of this, is that it's all completely trackable and transparent on the blockchain. And so on Ethereum, which is basically the technology behind all of these NFTs, if you were to go on Google and take a screenshot of, let's say, a CryptoPunk, which is a very well-known NFT collection, the cheapest one you can get is a couple $100,000. You could go take a photo of it or a screenshot and mint it on some random platform and say it's a CryptoPunk, but anybody can look at the actual provenance of that token and know that it's a fake. And so that's the beauty of it, is that this is all recorded into a ledger that is unhackable, unchangeable forever. And so you can actually like prove the ownership of a digital file.
That was kind of my next question. Like, how do we know that it can't just be someone smarter than everyone, or like a young kid that sees an opportunity can't hack everything that everyone's throwing these hundreds of millions of dollars into?
I mean, the reality is there's a lot of hacking and scamming going on, like with anything that goes mainstream. And so like you have to be very careful if you're getting involved in this, and make sure that like any NFT collections, any platforms, anything, you know, you're planning to put your money in, don't just go and like spend a bunch of money. Like spend a month researching and figuring out the platforms, figuring out the tech, who the artists are, who whatever it is, but you learn as you go.
Gotcha.
Right.
So I got a two-part question, but I'll ask you one at a time. My first one is, these NFTs, these actual art pieces, can you put it on like your actual wall in your house, or like how, or are you just sending it over the internet?
So that's a good question. So like for the first few years of all of this, it all just basically lived on your computer screen, on your phone screen. Recently, in the last couple of years, there's a bunch of new digital frame companies coming out. And so like my house, for instance, I have digital frames everywhere, where instead of it being a painting, it's like a moving artwork on your wall.
On your wall.
On your wall. And so like now it's like a TV, except like it looks like an artwork. And they're just going to keep, like, it's a matter of time before Apple and everyone else, like Samsung's launching a bunch of digital frames now, but that, like, we're in a digital world. Like, your kids literally, like, they're on their screens all day. Like, for them, when they're growing up, when they're our age, looking at art in a digital form is going to be far more natural than looking at art on like a painting in some old frame. Like, these kids are spending 90% of their life on a screen, and that's not going to change into the future. Like, everything is going virtual. Like, virtual reality right now, that's a big part of NFTs, is the fact that like a lot of the big collectors in the space are buying these NFTs, building museums and galleries in virtual worlds, and then they can charge access to get into this virtual world with your Oculus or whatever else. And so essentially the fact that VR over the next 20 years is going to get insane. Like, in 20 years, like, people are going to be spending majority of their lives in virtual reality.
So you're
like,
telling me that people are not even going to just Like, just gonna have a VR set and just sit on their couch.
I mean, not everyone, but like imagine being like
people.
somebody that's depressed and you don't like your life. Like you could literally
Just jump in
put
the
on your
world.
fucking Oculus and you have your beautiful wife, you have your beautiful house, serving whatever you want for dinner, you got whatever the fuck you want in the metaverse.
Holy
But
shit.
in real life, you know, you're
Bro, that's crazy.
loser.
Yeah.
A
yeah.
loser.
So, okay, so I'm glad you said all this stuff about the art because this brings me into the second part. So you were talking about like paintings, Picassos, and all that stuff. So in your opinion, and I don't know if this is factual or whatever, what do you think NFTs are doing to actual art, that art life type stuff? So
Like,
who's gonna own a
traditional.
Picasso in the NFT world or the whatever world it's called, metaverse?
yeah.
Is there gonna be a Picasso painting that you can go see, or like what?
That's like the crypto.
So there-
Is the art basically the real art that you go to an actual museum? Is that art going down?
No, I don't think that art is going down. I think that digital art is just going to become a new arm of the art market. And so there's already artists that are like becoming the Picassos of our time, the Andy Warhols
It's
of
just
our time
reset.
In
What
the
it was.
digital world.
in the digital world, but now the Sotheby's, the Christie's, the traditional auction houses that do all of the big auctions are now bringing in NFT artists to sell digital art. It's becoming like actually a bigger business for some of these auction houses than selling paintings now.
Because you have access to a way wider audience. Okay.
So
Driving up your value.
So the reality is, in like you said, 10, 20 years, if you still have regular art, it might be worth more too at that point. Because then if everybody has NFTs,
So
like, is the Picasso painting gonna go up or down in 20 years? The real painting.
I mean, I'm not expert enough
no,
to tell
yeah,
you that,
yeah.
but like what I can say is that a Picasso painting probably won't exist in 1,000 years because it's going to deteriorate. But a digital file is going to exist in 1,000 years because the internet's not going away. As long as there's an Earth, there's going to be an internet, and these are files that can't degrade, they can't change, remain exactly the same. With a Picasso, over time, like it just degrades.
Right.
Absolutely.
Damn it.
That's crazy.
Not saying you shouldn't have a Picasso if you can,
No,
because
bro.
art has been the best investment of the last 20 years
So let's-
besides real estate.
Got you. So let's say I have 10 grand I want to spend on art. I'm a guy who wants to spend 10 grand on art. Should I spend it on an NFT or should I spend it on an actual painting?
I would spend it on an NFT for sure.
Okay. Makes sense.
A non-fungible.
But you got to be careful, you got to figure. Like, I wouldn't just like blow 10 grand on any random project, but you got to do the research and figure out, find the artists that have the history of sales, find the artists that are marketing themselves well online. Like that's become a big thing. Like in the hit for all of time, like artists, they have reps, they have whatever that take 50% of all of their sales, and that's a big part of why this is all changed is that now artists have control. So like a big part of this whole movement is artist royalties. So think about this. So for all of time, with every painting that's ever been sold, the artist sells it for whatever amount. And then if 10, 20, 100 years later, it sells for $1 million, $10 million, $1 billion, they don't get a cut of that. They only get what they sold the painting for the first time. But with digital art, with NFTs, it's all built into what's called a smart contract on Ethereum, where every time it's resold forever, the artist gets a 10% cut immediately. So
Every time it's sold.
every time it's sold
So
forever.
we should make an NFT.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Shit. Absolutely. So how is what they call that blockchain changing the world?
I mean,
That's the legend he was talking about.
blockchain is changing the world in so many ways. Like, I mean, every single industry is going to be impacted by blockchain technology. So like on the finance side, you have cryptocurrencies, which, I mean, if you look at, I don't like to be like a downer, but like if you look at the US dollar, for instance, 40% of all the US dollars that have ever been printed happened in the last year. Think about that.
What? Joe Byron.
And so with cryptocurrencies, it's like obviously there's thousands of them, but like with something like Bitcoin or something like Ethereum, like these are cryptocurrencies that have a finite amount that it's never going to change. There's no way for inflation to happen. It doesn't matter if there's a war here, a war here. It's not attached to America, not attached to Russia, not attached to China.
It just exists.
It's the same value whether you live in Venezuela, whether you live in Africa, whether you live in Tampa. And that's the whole point of it, is that it's a hedge against the governments, essentially.
Yeah, you gotta. So here's.
I need a
Yeah.
piece.
Okay, so here there are people out there, and this question you might not be able to answer. I might look silly as shit asking it, but I've always thought about that there's people out there who think that art world, and I'm one of those people at one point, was for like money laundering, right? Because there's no actual amount that I can say that this piece is worth, right? So if I make a painting and I need to launder money and I sell it to somebody, and they're like, I say, yeah, this painting is worth
10 million.
10 million, and you pay me 10 million, who's to say that that painting isn't worth 10 million? Correct?
Correct.
So is that going to be who comes up with these prices for NFTs? Is it the same way if you create it, you make your own price, or by the people who want,
The world, right?
yeah, the people how many people want that one NFT type stuff?
I mean, it's the same as any market, but like it's the buyer that decides the value. Like the artists can set whatever price they want, but at the end of the day, it's what exactly if collectors want to buy it, and so it just depends.
Gotcha.
That's wild.
Yeah, man, this is a lot. I know that just to break it up a little bit, so we guys can think about everything that's going on, like me and Jerry are doing right now. You said you started a company a couple years ago. How's that going? You're part of a company. How's that going? And I've known you for a long time, and I know you when you were for me, to put it in terms that people know, rags to riches, for sure.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. You said something a little earlier offline. You knew him when what?
Well, we've known each other since high school.
Okay.
And we've been through the best and the worst of times together, for sure. But I want to say, when you got involved in this, like when you said you spent $700 on something, I feel like you might have had $800 in your account at that time. And you just went all in, or like what?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely
you're
like
not in the situation that you're in now 5 years ago.
That's definitely for sure. I mean, 5 years ago, I had 75 cents in my bank account.
What?
I was living in New York. I had a video production company. Like we were doing good projects, but it was a grind for sure. But yeah, I mean, I definitely went all in on the NFT space. Getting involved in SuperRare specifically was a big winner for me, just because it's without a doubt one of the most trusted brands in the space. We created this entire space. Everything you see around NFTs, this is literally created by SuperRare. The concept of crypto art, we were the first ever people allowing artists to make NFTs. In 2018, and for 3 years, people were telling us, "You guys are idiots. Digital art's never going to be a thing. Nobody's ever going to buy NFTs. This is fucking stupid." And we knew without a doubt that this was the future. It's too clear. This has never been possible in the history of time for artists to get royalties every time their art sells. And now it's happening with the music industry. Musicians are now releasing albums as NFTs where you can buy into it and actually get a payout every time somebody buys the album if you're becoming a partner. That's what essentially all of this allows, is any sort of creators, any sort of businesses to build communities and tie in without having to go the traditional IPO route of raising money. You can essentially raise funds through an entire community of just fans.
Jesus.
Okay. Now, if you are one of us, right? The outsider, right? I don't have a percentage of the knowledge you have. What do you do? If I'm somebody that has even like $100, and I'm like, I need to start getting into this space. I want to be somebody that goes from the rags to the riches. What do we do?
Okay, so if you have $100, I wouldn't get involved in NFTs.
Well, no,
yet.
$100 to invest in something.
If you have $100,
$100 to invest, not
So
like
invest.
$100 in your account, but
$100 that is disposable income that you want to invest.
Yeah.
And so that's important. Like the way you have to think about this, any money that you're putting in,
Not guaranteed.
it's not guaranteed. It is risky, and you have to like think about it almost like a Netflix account. So like you have $100, okay? Put $10 a month in Bitcoin, put $10 a month into Ethereum. Same way you have a Netflix or a Hulu or whatever account, you forget about that shit
Right.
4 months later. It just comes out of your account, and after time, you just don't think about it anymore. You can't think about it as like something you're buying every month. You just have to forget about it.
It's okay. Okay. So I was saying this a little earlier. I worked at a spot before I moved to Florida, and the ladies that I worked with spent like $15 a day on coffee, right? So if we substitute,
Exactly. Instead of getting a Starbucks every morning, put $5 into Bitcoin.
I would say that to them every day. Yo, stop spending all it. Make the coffee at the crib. Make the coffee at the crib.
The reality is, if you have $1 million cash right now sitting in the bank, in a year that's going to be 900,000. In 2 years, that's going to be 800,000. With inflation right now, the dollar is just losing value. Unless you're investing that money into something that's earning more than that inflation, you're just losing money on your cash. And so I would put money into either real estate if you can, or assets like crypto, which in my personal opinion, not financial advice, is by far the best way to go right now. I mean, think about gold. Okay, so like for hundreds of years, gold has been basically the store of value known across the world. Like it's not like you don't go into 7-Eleven and buy a Gatorade with gold. You put money into gold because you want that money to remain stable.
Right.
But like the reality is that more gold's always going to be mined. Like there's literally asteroids being discovered now that are mostly gold that they're going to be able to mine within the next 10, 20 years. Like gold is not going to be able to maintain that value into the future, but Bitcoin is digital gold. It is essentially gold, but built through mathematics.
Okay, that's crazy.
I know it's all a little technical, but
Yeah, it is for sure.
I mean,
was like,
realistically though, I mean, we had this conversation
I
3 years
was
ago.
literally about to have this
5 years
I was
ago.
like, wow, like.
Yeah, talk about that. He said he told you about this 5 years ago.
Yeah, so we definitely are going to get into that for sure. So, where can people follow you at? Where can people get more advice? I know you're a big Twitter guy. Where can they follow you? Or where can they
So
get
yeah,
advice?
you could follow me on Twitter, SuperRare Roses. I would also follow SuperRare, which is just SuperRare on Twitter. That's like the best place to follow our company and everything that's going on. Outside of that,
just Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's my main thing for sure.
So follow my guy at Twitter. He's giving lessons right now, giving gems out. It's mind blowing to me, at least. I mean,
Any reason why it's only Twitter?
Mainly because that's like where crypto land is. So like all of the collectors, all the investors, like crypto Twitter has taken over the world. Like people can't really interact on Instagram. You can post photos and shit, but it's not like the same
not like
sort
a
of thing.
discussion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's what Twitter has essentially, like without Twitter, like none of this NFT stuff would exist. Like none of this Bitcoin and Ethereum stuff would exist. Like Twitter is a big part of like why a lot of this has happened, because it's given a forum for all of these people to connect about it.
Mini story here. The reason why I wanted to start a podcast is because I had a Twitter. All my handles for all my social media was the same, JX1S. About a year and a half ago, somebody hacked my Twitter. And I would just talk my shit early in the morning after a workout. I'd always get like inspirational thoughts and I would put it into my Twitter. Somebody hacked it and I couldn't do that anymore. It pissed me the hell off. It was some Asian guy.
Probably didn't have a good enough password.
Yeah. What was your last name and plus
Yeah.
your password?
I could have guessed that password. It was like,
No, it was not that. I don't remember what it was.
Gotcha.
So yeah, they grabbed my shit and yeah, here we are. Now we're talking shit in real life. So thanks.
So Twitter is where to find Zack at.
yeah, for sure.
That's fire though.
All right, so before you guys had said something, or we brought it up about like the 5-year thing where you had gave me advice, and I did take it though.
Tough subject.
I did, yeah. It is a tough subject because it makes me mad as hell.
No, it made me mad as hell.
Yeah, and it didn't have nothing to do with you. So how do you think I feel?
Because you said
It makes him mad though because if it would have been
Yeah, I was
him,
hoping
he
that
would have listened.
Hold on. You cannot say that because you weren't in the situation that I was in when I did what I did.
you gotta figure it out, man. Be a problem solver. Do it.
So, oh my God.
You gotta figure it out. So talk to us, man.
Yeah. Okay. So let's.
So 5 years ago, what were you guys talking about? Ethereum?
Yeah, so essentially playing shuffleboard, I think.
We did go to some place. It was my first time playing shuffleboard. I'm not like a professional shuffleboard. I've never done it. I've done it one time.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun actually.
He's the one who invited me. I did it one time and I haven't done it since then. But it was not a bad time.
Okay.
For sure.
This was like early when I was getting into Ethereum. Like the price was probably $60.
Yeah, it was definitely less than
Dollars or so.
And now it's worth
And-
what?
And I think I had bought like.
Now it's worth what?
I think right now maybe 2,800, 3,000.
And I had bought like. At the end, before I took it out, I was at like 96.
Dollars.
No, 96 actual coins.
Yeah. You put like 10 grand in, and
Yeah.
so like at 80,
What?
or maybe like 8 or 7 grand.
I think it was like 5. Yeah, 5.
Even
7,
5,
like
I think 5 at
5
that
or-
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
at that
Okay.
time.
Regardless,
At that
the
time.
amount you put in would be
Nah,
fucking insane.
nah.
So if it's $5,000 and it's $3,000 now, I don't want to do the math on.
No. You
camera.
got 90 something coins. You said.
Yeah. So how many? There are 2,800.
Call it 100 coins,
Yes.
and
100
it's worth $2,800.
300-400 grand.
And I said 300 grand that I took it out, but I was in a bad spot. Like,
And I get that, and like
electricity bills, my car was about to get repoed. Like, it was when I had put that money
It was a
in.
shitstorm.
It was oh my God, yeah. It was
I need folks to let us know in the comments if you have an opinion. I don't know.
Yeah.
What would you have done?
I would have been on the streets.
okay,
I would have been
and
a
I
bum
understand that. And
underneath the interstate.
No, you wouldn't have.
In
done
that- in that situation-
That was 5 years ago. I would have 300 bands today.
Yeah.
So you wanted me to stay on the street for 5 years.
no,
I
in
mean, I
that,
would've
in
made- I
that
would've made some
situation,
shit
you
happen.
made the right decision. Like I also was in, not a great position at that time myself.
Yeah,
like,
that's when you
and-
actually started.
Exactly,
making
but
it
like the
happen.
way that I thought about it, like I said earlier, is this is like I'm not putting this money into a bank account. I'm not putting this money into a stock whatever account. This is just like money I'm forgetting about. It's $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever it is, and you have to think about it as like this is just money that like I'm gonna think about in 5-10 years.
Yeah. And it's
And
crazy because
5,
like, for me,
10
that's
years.
like it's like instead of buying an 18-pack, you just a beer. You just put it in.
I don't care
You just
what-
put it in fucking
don't care
NFTs,
what
crypto,
it is.
and all that good stuff.
If you ain't buying something that's gonna get you something back, if it ain't food, well, I can't say shit because I love clothes, but I don't know, bro. I just
Yeah.
I mean, you can buy food with crypto. Like right now, you can get a Coinbase or a Gemini or any of the crypto exchanges. You can get a debit card and just charge your crypto
Yeah.
straight away.
What?
hold on.
Like
I wanna get back to that story.
I take half of my salary in crypto. I have a debit card that just subtracts out of my crypto account. Like
But
very
the-
soon in the future, like people won't have bank accounts. Like people literally will be doing it all themselves via crypto. That you could still have a debit card. It's just not with a bank that's taking fees off of it.
However, if a cryptocurrency goes all like takes a hit, like I know recently couple cryptos took a hit. Their value went from
Yeah.
X amount to very lot less.
Especially with the Japan thing, I think it was, where they like banned like a bunch of.
So you can
Crazy
take
shit.
a
I mean,
hit.
there's always going to be things where you could take a hit, but you have to think about it in like a 5 to 10 year outlook.
Like
you
said,
can't think
if you
about
spend
it
the
like
money, it's already gone.
Exactly.
It's counted as an L from the get go.
So 50% of your income is L, is what you say to me?
right now 50% of my income
You
goes to
just
Bitcoin
write
and
off.
Ethereum immediately.
You just write it off.
It's done through our company, but yeah, like when I get my paycheck, I get half in cash and then the half goes into my Coinbase.
No, I want to talk about
the story.
your
Like,
story.
You keep bringing this shit
No,
up.
because this is something crazy. So what kind of car did we have at the time?
Shit.
Break it down, man. I want to know the
I don't
whole
even
scenario.
remember.
And
I had a
need-
Jeep Wrangler
you
in
had a Jeep.
1991, no doors, no roof.
It was
Used
the
to
shit,
beat
though.
the rent. It was nice at first, but we fucked it up like after time.
Not
but-
you did. Don't put me into that shit.
What was you ride?
I don't remember what I was driving. When I
That
pulled up, I think
Lexus. You had that Lexus, but it was like an old Lexus.
That was in high school. I'm
I'm
talking
talking
about
about-
the 5 years ago when we had this conversation.
Yeah, I don't know what you were driving.
I think I was driving the Mercedes that we talked about last
Oh my
week.
God, the Mercedes.
They're Mercedes.
I'm
Now you
not down.
think-
So we was trying to also no, this is social rehab, and we sticking to it 100. So the Benz that we was trying to ride with, the Benz we wanted, cost just because we wanted to look nice at the light, the people we ain't know, and to show you we was trying to bag that we ain't really, you know what I mean? That is what you ended up losing.
Fuck, dude. The fact that you're saying it right now is that thought didn't even cross my mind at the time.
Nah, bro, I ain't hearing that, bro.
What do you mean? Like, you're saying it
You
now.
had a
You're
man give you a gold mine?
No, you're hindsight. You're hindsight right now.
No,
But
bro.
I'm talking about at the time that the thought was like, I don't want to get my car repo. Not what kind of car was driving. I was like, I don't want to get a repo.
I'm going to the foundation of it, that you were making, or we're grabbing a whip that at the time probably shouldn't have been we wanted the nice car because we wanted the nice car. That's all you telling me right now. Wanted the nice car because we wanted a nice car, instead of putting the money we were putting towards a nice car towards something that could really get you a nice car. God damn fuck, man. God damn it. Oh man, this is crazy, man.
It's not too late though.
No, yeah, and like I think I mean, you said a lot of gems in this episode for sure. Like we've had this conversation before for an hour and a half, but the stuff that you said, just hearing it again, and it's just like, it's crazy. It's crazy because you're the first person that I can actually like reach out and touch, because you hear the stuff about the crypto, you hear it about the NFTs and stuff, but like if you don't have somebody who you can actually get knowledge from and like see it, happen in front of your eyes, then you might have like second thoughts on it. But
you trust me, you know me,
absolutely, 100%.
And
I've seen,
I wouldn't lie to you.
You showed me the account.
I pulled. Hey, look.
You showed me the account the
all
other day.
I gotta say is, when I pulled up to the office, right? I pulled up to the penthouse. I parked my car. I said, "Damn, whose G-Wagon is that?" I walked into the room. I said, "Yo, whose G-Wagon outside?" He said, "Mine."
It's a new one.
Yeah,
It's a
that's-
new one. That's fresh, but
I was like, "Okay,
for
that's
sure.
who we talking to today."
Yeah, definitely.
I'm hurting, man. I don't know. I'm hurting.
Damn, I'm
really
mad
hurting,
right
bro.
now.
I'm really hurting hearing that because, man, there's somebody out there in that same position. You're not the only one.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're
We
not
always
the
say,
only one.
if
There's
you're
someone-
thinking about it, or if it's happened to you, it's happened to somebody else.
There's someone doing that right now that could be taking this knowledge.
I mean, regardless of what you have, whether you're making 10 grand a year or millions of dollars a year, I guarantee that you're buying a Starbucks or you're investing in Netflix every month or something that you don't actually need. But like, you can think about it that way. Like, just think about it as a write-off. Like, it's literally just like a small thing each month that you don't think about, that in 10, 20 years, you're going to check back.
And be like, well, I'm so thankful I made this move.
Exactly.
Oh my
I'm
God.
fucking done for the rest of the episode.
I would be
I don't
too.
even want to talk no more.
I would be too. So anyway, you want to get out?
I'm really trying to crawl underneath the table right now.
Yo, that
That's
is.
fucking crazy.
Oh man. Okay, so.
So, like, advice to people who are watching this episode who don't know anything about it, like how do you even get started? Like what are some apps to get? What are, you talked about, hey, you don't have to be a millionaire to invest. You can invest 10, 20. Like take us to the process of somebody has a couple dollars that they want to start investing weekly. What's the process as far as apps and...
Step one, take 2 weeks, take a month, take whatever you need and research and learn. Like until you can look me in the face and tell me what Bitcoin is and what Ethereum is, like accurately, you shouldn't be buying it. And so you first need to learn what you're buying it and like what the reason you're buying it is. Once you've done that work.
If I don't know what it is, but you're giving me advice, I'm gonna say, hey, I don't have to learn.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you just want to like trust in the word of others, you can. But like, for me, I would only put my money in something that I understand what it is.
That's Bill Gates' number one rule.
Yeah,
only invest in something that you are very, very familiar with and that you understand and that it makes sense to you. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to explain to yourself why you're putting that money towards it.
So step one is research. Step two.
Step two is you just figure out like what your risk capability is. Like, depends how much money you have available, but you have to realize that anything you're putting in, it could be gone. Right. And so you have to think about it that way. Like if it's an NFT, only buy something that you would love to have on your wall. Like the same way you're buying a painting, like something you would love to see forever, whether it's worth $0 or $10 million. Same with cryptocurrencies. You only want to invest in the top currencies, the top projects, the things that you understand the technology behind. There's thousands of cryptocurrencies. There's going to continue to be many more. Like 99% of them will be worthless. So you just have to be careful. You have to trust the right people if you're going to be that kind of person that just invests off of other people's words. But like if you're going to be like him and like go off of what you believe, then yeah, trust it.
I did not say I would just invest off of anybody's word.
Anyway,
I asked if it was important to know.
Now, in terms of, so you just have to, what I'm getting out of that is you kind of have to play the long game, right? You're not going to look at this as, you can get rich really fast, but at the average level, you have to do it over time and you have to be committed to it over time.
Definitely. Like that's the smart way to do it. Like, yes, there's bigger risk plays that you can make a lot more in a shorter amount of time, but it's a higher risk that you're going to lose that money.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, it's just like what you're passionate about. Like you got to think about like the types of things that really drive you and like where you want to put your money. Like for me, I'm putting most of my money in crypto because I see what's happening with the dollar and I don't trust that. And so that's a big part of why I'm putting money there. But everyone's different and you have to do it for your own reasons. But like, don't put in more than you can afford to lose and just don't think about it. Like if a bill comes up, if whatever comes up, like you don't have that money. Like it's $5-10. If you spent it on Netflix, you wouldn't have it. If you spent it on Starbucks, you wouldn't have it. So it's the same exact thing. You just have to pretend that money doesn't exist.
Because you might have 300 bands in your bank account in some time, and then you're going to do whatever you want to do with it to flip it, make it something else, and now you're a millionaire.
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. That's just how I look at things. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know about how do you look at things?
He ain't looking at nothing right now.
God dang, man.
He's just pissed off. He's just sitting over here.
Yeah, bro. It's cool. You live and learn, man.
It's
Life's
cool.
about
Like
experiences.
it's not too late.
No, but I'm definitely thankful that I have you as a friend now, and because you've definitely given me two things to go in, and like I said before, it's 2 for 2. Not financial advice, but that's the reason why I asked is because like if you tell me to do something, I don't really understand it, but I am going to do research about it because I'm not going to be on a podcast, have you sitting next to me, telling me and everybody else what to do, and me be the dumbass that doesn't do it.
So really quick before we close out, in the last, you said you've been doing this for 5 years?
Yeah.
In that 5 years, was there at any point that you were like, damn, like, am I crazy? Is this not worth my time?
Most of that 5 years. Like that was the general consensus. Like everybody was saying crypto's a scam. Everybody was saying NFTs are going to zero. Like it's total bullshit. Like why would anyone invest in this? But I knew they were all wrong, and I just stuck to my guns on it. And like you have to find the things in life that you believe with and you align with, and that's how I feel you should invest.
Right.
And that's crazy that you said that, because we had one
not sure I
a couple
understand.
podcasts ago. I'm not even sure, but we were talking about if you're not doing something where people are telling you that you're crazy, your dreams aren't big enough, right? So, and it's, you know, full circle. Somebody right here where when he was doing this, people were telling him you're crazy. You're crazy. Like, what are you doing?
I mean, my mom, like
family member. Yeah,
my mom thought I was crazy for the longest time. Now, like I've been giving her Ethereum and Bitcoin for Mother's Day for like 3 years now. Now she thinks I'm the smartest kid in the world. She loves me to death. For the longest time, she's like, "What the fuck are you doing with your life? Like, you get a job, stop putting your money in this bullshit." But now she's calling me every 20 minutes, like, "Why is it going up 10%? Why is it going down?" And I'm like,
That's
"Chill out."
crazy.
So that's
That's
what it is.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I feel like it's a constant theme. You know, at this point, we've had 2 guests, and we say ourselves, yo, stick to what you think, stick to what you believe in, because at the end of the day, when you look at yourself in the mirror, that's the only person that matters, and that's the only opinion that matters. So whatever external, you know, voice or external person that's coming at you, making you trying to make you think otherwise, bro, you just gotta be solid with yourself. Stay 10 toes down, man.
Yeah,
Stay 10 toes.
And we do appreciate.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, bet that out.
Stay 10 toes down.
So yeah, there's a lot of gems on this. It's a lot of information, and like I said, I think it's one of those things that people just get too scared about because it seems like a lot, but you take the time to do some research, and then it's like, you know, secondhand emotions.
Hey, right. Hey,
you know,
driving your own. I saw this. Driving your own lane. There's less traffic there.
Amen to that.
There's less traffic in your own lane, man. Just stay in your own lane. Do what you got to do. And even if they think you're crazy, just keep rolling, man.
Yeah.
Because eventually they're gonna be like, "Yo, what you was doing? What was that?" Shout out to Zack, man,
Yeah,
for real.
definitely.
I appreciate all the information.
For sure.
I'm definitely gonna tune into everything you say nowadays, because I ain't trying to lose out on 300 bands. What am I, crazy?
Why do you keep bringing that shit?
What am I, crazy? I'm gonna lose on 300
Why do
bands?
you keep bringing that shit?
I'm just, that's a, God, man, 300 bands. Muchachos.
What can I say?
I done went to DR with my man Claudio with that one. I done went to Santiago. Santiago, hoy, muchachos. Oh,
Shit,
man.
it's been a good one. Hey, remember to follow him on Twitter. Follow us, Social Rehab TPA. Follow me, AC Junior _ Social Rehab TPA.
And you know who it is, JX1S. It's your boy Jerrison. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm sure you have videos of your own, Zack. So, you know, go over there and you know, check out what he has to say. I'm sure there's a lot more knowledge on there. Any closing notes for you?
Not much. I just appreciate you guys having me in. It's been a good convo, and at the end of the day, like I think you guys need to launch an NFT collection. Like think about like Social Rehab. You have this podcast. Like you could launch an NFT collection. Let's say you're throwing parties. Like you could say you have to have the NFT to get into this party. You could say if you have this NFT, you get early access to all of our podcasts. You get early access to all the swag, t-shirts, whatever you're doing. Like you just have to add utility to these things. But like you guys can do it like everyone else. Like now's the time, and I'm here to help. So we'll do it.
He brought that into the light. Now we're doing it. You heard it here first. It's a live podcast right now, and I'm telling you right now, we about to get into that.
Let's get it.
Let's go. Best podcast in the city, man.
Best podcast in the city.
Is this the best podcast in the city, Zack?
Best fucking podcast in the city.
Let's go.
Let's get it. Hey, where can they follow you at right before we close out? Again, on Twitter, one time.
SuperRare Roses.
Perfect. So SuperRare Roses, if you guys want all the gems that we got today, SuperRare Roses, we're going to be putting it out on all the platforms. So, hey, we're going to see you guys next week like we always do.
In rehab, baby. Let's go.
Make sure you comment everything, any questions, because we're going to ask them directly. If I don't know it, I'm going to ask them directly, and we'll get you the answers.